we live in South Africa. Socioeconomics are not going our way at all. So when we have a certain, in inverted commas, a windfall, like a two-pot retirement system, is it really a windfall or is it a pitfall? We have to be very specific about how we label this. And this is why I brought in my friend and my favorite. I said that live. Whoops. Maya Fisher-French.
Not allowed to do that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's just between you and I. But Maya, it's great to chat to you again. The last time we brought you in, we had an extensive conversation around the incoming two-pot retirement system. And you were very explicit in what this actually means and why it is there. Is there any way you can nutshell this for me very quickly? The second pot that's been created, what, in your opinion and expertise, was that created for?
We introduced effectively mandatory preservation, which means that when you change jobs, you can't go and cash out all your money in the future.
Yes.
So government said, well, what about people who face a life event? Something really serious happens. They need access to these funds as an emergency. Let's allow them to have some access, and we'll call that a savings pot. That's what the savings pot is for. It is not there for the Christmas holiday. That was not the intention of or the creation or the design of it. And that's kind of the nutshell, isn't it? I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Government were worried about South Africa. We are a third world country. Things happen. We save so much for this retirement. There's got to be a way to access something so that we don't put pressure on anything else in our economy. There's at least a savings there that should be sort of almost in the back of one's mind, but knowing that there's a safety net for an event. Here's the thing. In front of me are some stats that came out. And these stats are alarming from SARS. All right? Apparently, two-pot claims have risen to around 4 billion rand in just over a single week. Maya, I would like to tell you in the best English that I can, wat gaan aan?
You know, I just have to add that this is a drop in the ocean, because many of the retirement administrators are actually only opening to the retail investors like next week and the week after.
Oh.
So this is not like everybody who's going to apply for withdrawal has now been processed. This is just the start of it. And we're going to see this probably for the rest of the month. So yes, there's a lot of people drawing down the money available to them. And I know some people who are genuinely drawing it down because if they can settle their credit card of 30,000 Rand, it frees up an extra 1,000 Rand a month, which keeps them afloat, okay?
Okay.
I can understand people doing that. They're doing it. But then there are people who've decided to finish off their kitchen, people who are taking their family on holidays, they're spoiling themselves, who basically have decided that this is a bonus. And, if you're listening there and saying, oh, Maya, please don't, dampen our mood here, because actually we all deserve a little bit of a bonus every now and then, and don't be mean to us. The reason I'm concerned is that you have just gone and given SARS most of your money. And that's what I really thought we got through to people, was that this is not a good financial decision, irrespective of whether this funds should be kept for your retirement, and if you don't really care about getting old. Right now, your withdrawal, a huge percentage of that went to SARS. And why have you done that? There are other ways to enjoy yourself other than giving SARS more money.
I'm so glad you said that, because let's break it down for a second. We are getting tax directives. We needed those. In fact, SARS said it received 161,607 tax directive applications. Talk me through what this tax directive is in the two-pot system and how this particular thing works in terms of SARS having a say over what a lot of people were saying, this is my money. I paid this for X amount of years, which means I am entitled to this little portion/bonus. Why is SARS involved again?
So you must remember, any retirement contribution is tax deductible. So it came off your salary, and it actually effectively reduced your taxable income, because it went in before tax, okay?
Right.
So now SARS is not exactly going to let you take it out the other side untaxed, right? Because then we'd all do that. We'd all say, oh, let's get really smart and put a whole lot of money into our retirement fund tax-free, and then once a year go and pull out a portion of it from our savings pot tax-free, right?
Yes.
People would figure that one out pretty quickly. So SARS has said, because it came out of your taxable income. When when you made your contribution, it came from your taxable income. When you withdraw it early before retirement, we're going to add it back to your taxable income. So what it effectively does is it taxes you at your marginal tax rate, but more than that, it can even increase your tax rate, because they will say, well, this year, for example, maybe you earned 300,000 Rand,
Yes.
but because you also took out 30,000 from your pot, you actually earned 330,000 Rand, and we will tax you accordingly.
My word. I didn't think of that. That is profound, because now you're thinking, hey, this is a bonus, but yet you're pushing yourself into a different bracket, and SARS is obviously just, they're licking their lips at the moment. So this is, what worries me as well, Maya, and maybe I'm not an economist, not by a long shot, but I'm thinking about the implications. I'm looking at the numbers of 4 billion Rand just over a week. You said that's the tip of the iceberg. What does all of these withdrawals do to an economy of a very desperate South Africa? I mean, things are not exactly free here. We have to pay for everything. We've got bills in our mind. We've got kids that need to go to school. So there's a lot of economic pressure on the individuals in our society. But now, if we have many of those individuals tapping into the savings pot, is that not going to have an effect on the overall economic situation?
Look, it's actually very good for the economy when people draw the money out.
All right.
Perversely, because they're going to spend money. So if people are going off and, renovating their homes and buying gifts for their kids and all the rest of it, it's putting money into the economy. So in fact, the retailers are expecting a little bit of a bonus themselves from the money that's being spent. So there is actually an immediate benefit to the economy. I think obviously what we're concerned about is long term, but
yes.
On balance, it's not great when people take money out of their retirement pot. But what you want to remember is that going forward, all contributions going forward, 2/3, we've been speaking about the 1/3 that you can withdraw.
Yes.
2/3 has to be kept for retirement. It may never be used going forward, right? All new contributions, 2/3 of those you will not be able to touch even if you change jobs. So we are going to see a higher level of preservation by the time people get to retirement.
Okay.
Maybe it won't affect people a few years from retirement because, they don't have that much time in the new system. But certainly a 25-year-old starting now knows for a fair certain that 2/3 of all contributions will have been preserved and will be available to produce an income for them in retirement. I think the net benefit of the two-pot system is actually quite positive for retirement outcomes.
Okay.
But obviously right now, people are seeing this as a bit of a bonus, and I'm not sure if they should be doing it as such.
Yes, I got you. And now let's wrap it up with something that I think is more solution driven. In your professional opinion, Maya, what is a responsible withdrawal? What type of these events that I suppose the government foresaw in the future, what events makes it a good withdrawal to make sure that the two-pot system is actually functional?
I think so. For some people who've been sitting with a lot of debt, they've been taking on very expensive debt, and they could see this as a way to kind of give them some breathing space. But it's only going to be a breathing space if you change your behavior and you get out of debt, right? If you use this to settle the credit card and then go and spend on the credit card again, and then use next year's withdrawal as another credit,
Yes.
To pay off the credit card, then you're not solving the problem. So I think it can only work if you changing behavior. I mean, obviously another really big one is something like a job loss.
Yes.
Or, maybe you become very ill. And those are the kinds of events that government was thinking about with the two-pot system. They also did indicate that, say, for example, there's a lot of people who just can't afford to put down a deposit for a home. So now imagine if you have been, you've been putting your money away, you're 25, you now reach maybe 35 and you want to buy a house. You could, I think, realistically say, okay, I'm going to take a portion of the savings pot here because it's the only way that I can access housing. And certainly government has mentioned housing as one of the mechanisms that they do see this as being available for. So you could
Okay.
say, right, I'll take some of this and put down as a deposit. But understand that as much as you're doing that and as much as you can use it for that, you will pay tax on those withdrawals. So you do want to try and outside of this fund your own emergency funds, fund your own deposits on your home. But, for many South Africans, their only savings are their retirement funds. And if they can be made accessible for them to help them into the housing market, that could be a good example.
Quick one, just to go back, our original conversation is available on primemediaplus.com, and we love that convo, Maya, because you gave us some pearls of wisdom ahead of the two-pot system that is now kicked in. But Neil mentioned something here that I just want to run by you very quickly. Would you be able to deposit money into a savings pot as part of that? Remember those the 1/3 that you can withdraw, or is it going to go into all of those pots and just be divided into a third if you put any money into that particular facility?
So very good question. It's very important to understand that the savings pot will be treated is just part of your retirement fund.
Thought so.
So the money in the savings pot will be invested in exactly the same fund as your retirement pot.
Okay.
So I think that's something a lot of people haven't understood, that the value of that savings pot will go up and down depending on market movements. So if you're thinking that every year this is a withdrawal and we have a bad market that year, your money could be worth less than you actually put in. So it's not really something that you use as a savings for a year-to-year basis. That you open up a bank account and you save in that separately.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for clearing that up. I think that I wanted to address more of the withdrawal behavior with you before we get into any of the deposit stuff. But there's so much more to chat about, Maya. But for now, I think what we've satisfied is the fact that there is a way to irresponsibly withdraw versus the way it was intended. I know that the country, there's a certain level of delight, but desperation too, that we have to be sensitive to. But at the same time, we effectively are not going to be saving up for our future. We are looking after just the right now. And it's so difficult to focus on the future when there's so many things going on right now. So I think it's about consumer behavior that needs to be edited in this regard, with regard to this now available pot of money. But with more education from you, Maya, I think anything is possible. So thank you so much for joining us again today. Always a pleasure chatting to you. And if anything pops up, I do want to give you a call back if you don't mind.
Absolutely, and I hope the listeners also, even if you have made the withdrawal, please go and make sure you use it to reduce debt, to do something useful, not just to kind of blow it on nice stuff.
You know what happens? Murphy's Law, I get a very good question at the end of a conversation. Okay, one more thing. Sorry, one more. I got a message in here from Brad. Brad says this, all right? Brad says, in fact, I'll play you the voice note and see if you could perhaps answer this very quickly.
Hi, Carl. You mind just chatting about when people owe SARS money? If you owe them more than what you are meant to get, are they going to take the whole amount? I'm really asking this for a friend, not it's for me.
No, don't worry, Brad. We don't know. It's your friend. We'll chat about your friend. So Brad's friend has asked a question to you, Maya. I'm sure that was clear. Yes. What is the situation on owing SARS money versus that withdrawal?
Excellent question. So if you owe SARS money and you have not come to an arrangement with them, so you just owe back taxes, you've avoided it, you've been hiding, they will take the money from your two-pot withdrawal. Woo! That's what will happen. So you may get nothing out, okay? If, however, you have a payment arrangement with SARS, you owe SARS money, but you've come to a payment arrangement, okay, they will stick to that payment arrangement. They will not take it from your two-pot withdrawal.
I understand. You see, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. That was a very important one to clear up.
Very important.
Very, very important. And there are so many more. So, Maya, for another day, we'll definitely have a chat with you. Thanks for always being available. We love your website, by the way, mayaonmoney.co.za, MAYA on money.co.za. And it's just always a privilege chatting to somebody who's in the know. And I think, the key is to make it palatable. There's so many financial educators that use too much jargon. I want to make sure this is, consumable for the everyday person. So thank you so much for doing that and packaging key information in the way that you do. I really appreciate it.